Thank you for attending this breakout session. This session is filled with powerful information to help improve your health and empower you. Radio Free 102.3 KJLH. We are you.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for all coming to our virtual Women's Health Expo. We thank each and every one of you guys. So for starters, I would like to introduce myself. I'm going to be the host for this event. And we have a great female NCOs that are a part of the United States Army. So with that, hey, I just want to say thank you guys for all being a part of this this grand event. So with that, what I want to do is I just want some brief intros about who we are, who you guys kind of stand for, and pretty much we'll kind of get into the questions here. Okay, so I'll start. My name is Staff Sergeant Tucker. I'm from South Carolina. I have been in the Army for 8.5 years. I'm a musician, I'm a songwriter, but most importantly, what I love to do is I love to give back to my community, and that's why we're here, giving you guys this great information. So there's no particular order, just to let y'all know. So pretty much whoever wants the floor next, go ahead.
I just want to say hello, everyone. My name is Staff Sergeant Brooks. I am from, I was raised in Pennsylvania, but was born in San Antonio, Texas. And then I lived in Virginia for a couple of years. I am 31 Bravo Military Police, been in for, like I said, 8 years. And right now I'm a recruiter, just moved here to Southern California from Hawaii. So that was my last duty station there.
All right, thank you for joining us. All right, thank you. All right.
Well, I'll go next.
Oh. Okay.
My name is Sam Porter. I'm actually from Southern California, born in Los Angeles, raised out here in Oxnard, California. So representing the 805 as well as the 323. I am a pharmacy technician. I also, prior to coming on recruiting, was stationed in Hawaii at Tripler. Sergeant Brooks. And like Sergeant Tucker, which he forgot to mention, I am a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So I do give back to my community a lot.
Rude to the Zeta. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right.
So I guess I'll go last. I'm Staff Sergeant King. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Joined the Army 2011, been in about 10 years now. I'm a 92 Yankee, proud Yankee. My last duty station was Hawaii, just like everybody else. I was stationed on Shafter. After Hawaii, I just decided to do something different. So I came on recruiting orders and I got stationed here in Los Angeles. I'm not a part of any sorority or anything like that, but I do love giving back to the community. I love doing volunteer work, volunteer services. Wherever I'm needed, I'm always there. So that's pretty much about me.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, and I believe we have one more.
Yes, my name is Sergeant Pope. I was actually born in Mexico, but I moved to Dallas, Texas, D-Town representing right here. I was also in Hawaii. That was my last duty station before I became a recruiter in Inglewood. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And something about myself is that I'm 4'10".
Oh, you
Okay.
got me, Pope. I got you taller by 1 inch.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. I love it. Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, those were all great introductions. Thank you all again for being a part of this virtual Women's Health Expo. We really do appreciate it. So, the reason why, we're here today is pretty much to talk about our experiences and just things of what you would say to someone that is considering joining the U.S. Army. Because there are a lot of fallacies out there, a lot of misconstrued information, a lot of things that the media displays that really isn't particularly what we actually represent. All right. So that's the reason why we're here today. So with that, I actually have a few questions that I'm just pretty much going to ask the group. Feel free, to answer how you may. There's really no order of presence, because, we're here to learn and we're here to educate, more importantly. So with that, if it's all right, I'm gonna get into the questions. Is that all right?
Yes, let's bring them questions on.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Okay, so again, so my first question to each and every one of you is, how is your experience as a woman, female, in the United States Army? How is your experience as a woman, female, in the United States Army?
I was gonna say this is Staff Sergeant Brooks again. My experience as a female, in the Army, so far is good. Like I said, I've been in for 8 years. My first duty station was in Texas. So, being MP, military peace, it has its ups and downs, different shifts, especially, having your family, being married, kids, all that. So, so far it's been great. And leadership wise, once I became a sergeant, carrying people under my wings and stuff like that, really helped out a lot as far as like leadership and stuff. They helped me with, I forgot what I was gonna say. But go ahead, you come back to it.
No, it was perfect. No, that was amazing. No, thank you. That was amazing. No, thank you again. Everything is free flow, again, so we, all right, we definitely, the floor is, you guys, so thank you, Staff Sergeant Brooks. I appreciate that. All right, next, whoever wants to go next.
I would say, Sergeant King, as my experience in the beginning, when I first came in, it was kind of like something new, a little challenging. My first duty station was steward, so it was more so like I guess like an infantry unit. So being surrounded by a lot of, I guess you can say, alpha males that kind of was like, okay, well, I'm better than you, I'm bigger than you, I can do more of this than you, or women should be in the military. It's like I had to prove myself. And the more I kind of like prove myself and kind of like, I guess raise my confidence or whatever, it's like I understood more, okay, this is what I'm going to be dealing with if I decide to make this a career. And I can honestly say, like, it was hard at first, but in the end, it kind of helped me. When I went to other units, it was like I already knew what I had to do. I already like kind of set the tone for how I want my career to go. So it kind of like matured me a lot. It let a lot of soldiers come to me and ask me questions like, how did you overcome this? How did you overcome that? What did you do when you was put in this situation? So it was like by me dealing with that experience, I was able to kind of like pass down the information to juniors so they can kind of get through the same thing. So in the beginning, tough, but it's kind of like, as my career went on, it kind of like got easier and got better, I would say.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's one of the biggest things. I can only imagine, being in a situation to where I feel like I constantly have to, prove myself. Golly. And I know for me personally, I've been in situations that's like that. That's why, I commend you all for, what you're doing times 10, because, I feel like that's an extra obstacle that you have to face, that you honestly shouldn't face, that you have to face. That was great. So thank you. So next. Again, the question is, how is your experience as a woman / female in the United States Army?
I would say that for me, I would have to agree with Sergeant King. When I first joined the Army, I was really scared because I didn't know like what my experience was going to be. But the more I made friends and many people traveled around the world, I was like, oh my God, wow, like this is awesome. Like I would have never thought I would have visited Korea for 9 months and made new friends that are Korean, get to visit new sites, and just pretty much making a family out of anyone that you just meet in the Army is awesome.
Wow, absolutely. All right, good stuff. Absolutely. I know I did a tour in Korea. I was in Camp Casey. So, did you do Camp Casey or Humphreys or?
I did. I was in Casey.
Okay, all right. There we go. 2ID. So, yeah,
Yes.
man. That's what I love about it, just to travel. All right, but thank you. I appreciate that. So, all right. Next.
All right. So the one thing I did not disclose was I've actually been in 13 years. I will hit 14 years this September. And with me being a specialty medical MOS of pharmacy tech, my experience is completely different than everybody else because I've spent my whole career, 11 years prior to recruiting, in a hospital or a clinic or a community hospital. So it's pretty much the running joke is we're civilians in uniform. So for us, the experience is very political. It's very patient care, patient first. We have to make sure that we're using the correct terminology. The patient is always right, even when they're wrong. We have to approach it in a different sense and aspect. There's not a lot of males in the medical side of the house, but you have quite a few. So our dynamic is completely different than being assigned to a regular unit because we're all about the politics pretty much, how to take care of the patient, how to talk to the patient. So the only time I have any issue would be with the civilian staff, because if you have civilians who've never been in the service, they don't understand when we have to go and do actual soldiering, like going to the range or going to first sergeant's end of the day formations and things like that, because we do still have soldiering on the hospital side. So my experience has been good. I've had a few headbutts with higher ups because I am definitely one. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And if it's wrong, I will stand by it. And luckily for us on the medical side of the house, if anything is wrong and you file a complaint with, as we know, our first sergeant, which is kind of like a CEO, I guess you would say, on the civilian side, they immediately take action. So we have immediate sensing sessions. And from there, they try to come up with some type of solution to resolve it. And for me, doing what's right is right. I've had to be the middleman between junior soldiers and NCOs. So for me, my experience has been really good and just definitely different than anybody else, as the ladies have said, when you're in a field unit and going toe for toe against men of I'm better or I can hang with, things of that nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Wow. I love that. Just, that they're going toe for toe. Just, I love the fact that, you're doing what's right, even when no one's looking. That's something that I would definitely say that I love about, the U.S. Army, or just, the fact that we're displaying that, because, a lot of people feel that, we lie or this or, whatever it might be. But, just the thing is, what's in you is going to always reflect, So if you're an honest person, you're always going to stay honest. So, again, thank you all for sharing for your experience. Does anyone want to add on anything more to the first question? How's your experience? I thought everyone's response was phenomenal. So thank y'all for that. All right. So silence is agreement. So I'm gonna move on to my next question. All right. All right. So my next question is, what are the benefits of joining the United States Army, i.e. career incentives, college benefits? Again, the question is, what are the benefits of joining the United States Army, i.e. career incentives, college benefits, i.e. whatever?
So for me, one of the benefits that I think that I love about the Army is that you can get certified on either your job that you're doing in the Army or something outside of your job. So like, for example, I know I didn't discuss it at the beginning, but my MOS is a 25 uniform. So that's a signal specialist. I work with either computers or radios. So right now I can try and get my IMO certification. And with that certification, I can use it outside of the Army into the civilian world and work at an IT company or any regular company, just helping them with their computer issues, phone issues, anything like that of the sort. Which I love that the Army can give you that opportunity and give you work view experiences that puts you already ahead of your peers, that someone that just recently graduated college doesn't have that. As well as the Army gives you financial classes to help you, financially help you with your money, making sure that you're spending the right amount of money. Like, I love that about the Army. They help you with your career progression, your finances.
Absolutely. Thank you. Amazing response. Anyone else like to share?
I was going to say one thing for me that I preach around here, and even back when I was an MP back on the line, is education. So I definitely use my tuition assistance. I am happy because I'll be graduating next month with my bachelor's in psychology. So
Right.
finally, right? I've been chomping away at it for a long time. 1 or 2
Oh, yeah.
classes, that's all you need, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll
Uh-huh.
be graduating with that and then be going on to my master's. So trying to do that and trying to decide to put in my packet for what the Army offers is the MSW program. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but the Master's of Social Worker. That's
Wow.
a program that the Army does. So if you are enlisted, you can go right into that program. And it's not just for, MSW programs. They have a lot of different programs that you can actually go into, like the RN class or the LPN and, different nursing programs and stuff like that. I know Sergeant Porter, she can touch on a lot of that from her medical side of it. So I ain't gonna step too much on your toes over there.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
Hearing other people who actually looked into the medical side of the house and all the programs we have. So keep going, Sergeant Brooks. You got it.
right.
I know, right? Yeah.
So that's definitely, tuition assistance. A lot of people think like, oh, I'm just gonna use my GI Bill. I'm like, no, you don't have to touch your GI Bill. Use your tuition assistance up before you start going into your GI Bill. The only time really, to me, you should be really touching your GI Bill is if you're trying to do a master's that's not paid for by your tuition assistance or your doctor's degree, if you're trying to go that far, even if you're trying to get a second master's, you know what I'm saying? So hold on to that GI Bill as long as you can, pass it along to one of your babies, family member, somebody, or give them half and while you finish the other half off, because you can do that also. So education is a big thing. Another thing, as far as benefits wise, is using the VA loan. A lot of soldiers, depending on where they're at, they go ahead and purchase a home. I purchased my home here in Southern California, easy, no down payment.
Right.
Well, I'll take that back because it was during quarantine. It threw me over a couple of them, but I still got it. But yes, purchased a home here. A lot of people say hard, it's expensive in California to buy, but hey, guess what? It wasn't that hard for me because I did have the VA loan. I had the benefit. I used that up and still got really good interest rates. So it's cheap. So yes, so those are my 2 tidbits.
Wow. Again, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And this is what I'm talking about, the Virtual Women's Health Expo. This is the information that this is needed not only, just for the people out there, but also for myself.
Right,
So,
right.
I love that you hit on all that and congrats over again. Wow.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
Can I caveat officer?
Yeah.
Okay. So she touched on the MSW, Master in Social Work. She touched on the ACP for nursing. We also have an MP program people don't know about. We have physical therapy. We have physician assistants.
Wow.
And our therapy program is through Baylor University. A lot of people don't know that.
Wow.
So there's a lot of in-depth that people don't know. We will pay for you to get your veterans, to be a veterinarian. We'll pay for that. We'll also pay for you to be a lawyer.
Wow.
So I'm with Sergeant Brooks. Education, education, education. That is my forte. That is my forte. We also have the small business owner loan. So people who want to be business owners, you can also get that just like the VA loan, low APRs, you have no money down, it's guaranteed money. And another great thing, especially for anybody who's from California, like Sergeant Brooks said, do not use your GI Bill unless you're working on your doctorates, which is my current situation. I am working on a doctorate of health sciences.
Wow.
And my daughter, I can go to any school in the state of California tuition free, just like Texas.
Wow.
Because
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
That's awesome. I didn't know that part.
Man, for real, that part for real. Wow. Again, y'all educate me, you know, so I knew some, but so yeah. All right. So anyone else would like to share? Again. All right. All right. Again, silence is compliance. So I'm gonna move on to question 3. All right. All right. Question 3 is how did you come to the decision to enlist in the United States Army? Again, the question is, how did you come to the decision to enlist in the United States Army, especially out of all the other branches?
I'll go. I decided when I was in high school, honestly, my junior year, I did JRTC. Right after high school, my mom was like, I need to give college a try. So I did college. I went to Georgia State. I was like, you know what? My brain is fried. I need to take a break. I was 21. So I was like, you know what? I always wanted to join the Army. So let me just give this a try. So I went to my closest recruiting station, talked to him. He told me, even though like I was in school, I wanted to give it a break, I still can always go back, which is what I did. I enlisted. I didn't know what I was signing up for, but I was like, you know what? It beats being in Atlanta, getting stuck, collecting debt from school, which I paid off.
That's good.
That part.
I paid the Army helped pay it off. They helped me with that. It beat beating collecting debt and just like, you know what? I got this bachelor's in psychology. I got all these degrees, but now I'm stuck with all this debt. So I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good thing. Let me go ahead and enlist since I always wanted to do it. And then on the back end, I can also get my degree. So it was more so kind of like weighing the pros and cons. Do I want to be in debt? Do I want to be stuck in Atlanta? Or do I want to join the Army, travel, get benefits, medical benefits, which is kind of like hard to come by nowadays. Like it's really hard. And being in the Army, being able to just walk into anybody's hospital and say, hey, I don't feel good. Let me see your ID card. It's too easy. So it was like medical, schooled, just wanting to get away from my current situation. It was like, you know what, this is the best bet. And I was like, you know what, I'm sold. So I just went ahead and just enlisted. And I can say I have not looked back since.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Wow, that's all right. Anyone else?
I was kind of like Siren King. I graduated high school. I went off to college. I went to Dillard University. So did a year there. Hurricane Katrina hit, came home. And my uncle actually is retired in the Army, a retired major. I wanted to work at FBI. So I actually have an undergrad in social and criminal justice forensics. So my uncle convinced me, joining the military, especially the Army, will get you a shoo-in with the FBI. So he didn't lie. You get a security clearance. I looked at going into the FBI, but at that time I had a child and they wouldn't have to, my years I served would only go towards retirement. So I'd have to start all over. So I was like, nah, I'm good. So, and then also like Sergeant King, we do have that student loan repayment. So that was a plus. Got a little small loan being in college. And the fact that like that was my biggest thing was I wanted to finish school. My uncle knew I wanted to finish school. So I just followed in his footsteps pretty much. I trusted him, trusted in God, and I was like, I'm out here.
Amen to that. That's good. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Next.
I was going to say when joining the Army for me was always something that I wanted to do. I was going to join right out of high school, but I didn't because it was like, oh, you had something, my name was different or something. I forgot what it was. But so I just waited. Then I went to college for travel and hospitality, was doing that for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I still want to join. And it was just something that was stuck in my mind for a very long time. So I wasn't the average person joining, at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the list goes on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm ready to do something different. I always wanted to do something different. And being in the Army was just something that I just wanted to do. So I went in, and I was going to college too, trying to finish up, my bachelor's and stuff at the same time, collecting debt. And I was like, let me just go in. And I thought I can do officer, and now I couldn't. So I just went ahead and joined and worked my way up and real quick and got promoted. That's all. And that's all.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Anyone else would like to share?
So for me, the reason I wanted to join was because growing up, I came from a really lower income family house. So I knew that I wouldn't have the money, and I didn't have the scholarships to, go to school. So I had, like I said, I was also in the JROTC program for since freshman year. And I've known my recruiter who always come and visit us since freshman year as well. So senior year came and he was like, "Are you ready to join?" And I was like, "You know what? I am. I don't have nothing to lose, and I am."
Nice. Wow. I think that's all that is remarkable. Wow. Each and every one of you females, reason of joining. I think that's awesome. Different reasons, but it all just ties into one. And that's honestly really what I love about that question, is because so many people join for different reasons, but at the end of the day, we're still coming together as one. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, thank you all for sharing that. All right. So I'm gonna move on to my fourth question, and this question is, how has your decision to join the United States Army helped your career both personally and professionally? All right, I'm going to say it again. How has your decision to join the United States Army helped your career both personally and professionally? Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good.
Sometimes
I confuse my own self. I'm like, man, did I say it right? I think I did say it. Okay, so I'm good at it. Okay.
I was going to say that my decision to join the military has helped me both ways, personally and professionally, because again, like I said, I came in older. So I pretty much knew some of the things that I wanted to do as far as getting my degree and pursuing other fields. So I knew, hey, guess what? I couldn't get behavioral health at the time, but I know I can transfer into behavioral health. Now I have going to have my bachelor's degree. I've been when I came to recruiting, that's why I did recruiting, because I knew that, hey, guess what? I'm about to finish. I wanted to do an internship. So I started going out and started doing an internship, even though it was Zoom, because COVID hit. So I was able to do my internship and start trying to learn how to talk to people more, counsel them, shadow other psychologists and stuff like that. So for me, it has been good, talking with people, being a military police officer, just talking with them, doing community service. That's one of my biggest things also too, is going out in the community, actually saying like, hey, guess what? Let me help out over here. Let me volunteer over here. Let me do this over here, But yeah, so personally and professionally, it has been really good for me because again, I know what I want to do. I have not stopped what I was doing before as a civilian, and I'm not stopping as a professional. So.
Absolutely, wow, it was perfect. Wow, I love that. All right, floor is yours. Anyone else?
I'll go. Personally, I would say, coming from like Atlanta, certain areas, you don't have a lot of families there aren't really close. So it's like you grow up together, and then some people choose to do different things that you aren't okay with. So you say, hey, I don't want to end up like that. I want to do something different. So joining the Army, personally, I would say like I've met so many amazing women and men that I still call today. I've been in 10 years, so you can imagine, like, for 10 years, I've been in contact with these people, whether it's like holidays or kind of like a, hey, just checking up on you, I haven't heard from you. Hey, I heard about this program, or I got a niece or a nephew that wants to join, they want information, stuff like that. So I never thought that I would still be friends with people that I went to basic with, the people that I kind of like got on the plane with. So it personally, I would say I built kind of like a extended family. Professionally, I did not see myself being a Yankee when I joined. It was kind of like a switcheroo at Mets. So when I came in, it's like I understood more about my job, and I also understood, like, okay, if you decide to just not do this anymore, you can go be a contractor overseas making almost like 200, 300K. So it was like I kind of, even though I didn't want to do it in the beginning because I didn't know fully what it was, I just heard like, oh, you're the Walmart of the Army. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But it's actually more to it. It's more logistics. It's more like so much involvement. And it's like I gave myself more options if I just decide to hang up my uniform, which I don't see myself doing because it's so easy. It helped me with schooling professionally. I was able to like start my own little business, something I never thought I would see myself doing. I'm like, okay, let me do this. Everybody in the Army been giving me advice. It's so easy. Let me just try it. I tried it and I actually like it. So professionally, it's just learning how to build resumes, learning how to kind of like talk to people, leadership skills, like pretty much anything you could ever think of is like professionally wise. Like I learned it while joining the Army, something that I didn't think I would get back home. Just, I guess, like I would say, like just going to a regular 4-year college, getting a degree, having debt, and just like doing it that way. But like leadership skills, BLC, AOC, to certain stuff like that, different positions, it put me in a light of, okay, you can understand this from this kind of way. You can understand why certain people carry themselves a certain way. It taught me how to, if somebody's having a bad day, you can pull them to the side and say, hey, I may not know what you're going through, but let me talk to you this way as a professional. And it also taught me how, sometimes you got to take that professional hat off and just go personal. Like, look, when I was your age, I went through the same thing. This is how I got through it. My family is way, my mom, my dad. So it kind of gave me the aspect to appear, I would say, human. Like, okay, yeah, I'm in the Army, but I'm also human first. So I guess my decision just kind of like made me dual habit. I can be your friend, but I can also be your mentor and make sure you stay on the right track.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Right. Thank you. Wow. That's what I'm talking about. A friend and a mentor. That's what I'm talking about. Right. Next.
Well, like Sergeant King said, I'm one of the lucky few that got out of LA. I'm born in the 80s. So, I'm originally from South Central. I grew up over in Leimert Park off of Stalker, So I'm one of the lucky few that got out.
Yeah.
And so, like she said, being in a situation or in a city like the City of Angels, there's a lot of bad habits that you can grow into. So, when you had an opportunity to run, you just got to run with it. Right. But for me, being one of the lucky ones who got out, personally, it helped me grow more as a person because my mother always instilled in me, you always do what's right, be aware of your surroundings. And then going to basic training, it's like they teach you the same thing. So I'm like, okay, I got this. And then professionally, I've learned how to deal with civilians. I've learned how to do their time cards, how to do scheduling. So for me, it's like leaving the Army whenever I choose to retire, I can go get a civilian job and be somebody's supervisor and know how to deal with the different personalities. Like Hawaii, you've got a lot of Asian culture. I was in Miami prior to that. You've got that Caribbean Hispanic culture. Prior to that, I was in that Southern culture. And then prior to that, I was in Washington State. So, similar to California, kind of like the liberal, we're just hanging out. So I've experienced different personalities on the professional side. So I know how to deal with any person at any given time.
Right. Wow. Nice. And that's amazing. The diversity within that, the many places you're able to deal with those different personalities. So, wow, I definitely get it. Yeah. All right. Think next, or was that everybody? I think that was everybody. All right, next question. All right, but that was, you're absolutely right. Each and every one of you guys' response was, again, I couldn't ask for more, so I guess we're kind of getting down to the wire. We got about 3 more questions that I'm gonna ask, and I guess we can kind of go and wrapping it up. All right. So my 5th question is, as a recruiter, what are some of the obstacles that you face influencing both men and women to enlist in the United States Army? I'll say it again. As a recruiter, what are some of the obstacles that you face influencing both men and women to enlist in the United States Army?
I'll start on that one. For me, like I said, I am back home, but I recruit out of the Santa Barbara County. So if anybody knows anything about Santa Barbara, very affluent area. So our obstacles with convincing them is the 2 years of free community college. Why do the 2 years when you could do maybe 6 months to a year and get all of that same training that you'll get at the 2-year college and be done with your associates in 1 year compared to 2 years? Then jump onto your bachelor's 2 years later, so you get it done in 3 years instead of 4. And then the other obstacles we have are parents, because with it being an affluent area, like Sergeant Pope, if you don't mind me saying, like how you said you came from a lower income household, we have a lot of that in that. So a lot of the parents, especially the Hispanic parents, you know, from Mexico and things like that, Sergeant Pope can correct me if I'm wrong, they are afraid for their children.
Right.
And some of the children want to do it, but they dishonor or disobey their parents.
Right.
So it's more so the difficulty of explaining, like, hey, your child will be safe. Like, okay, don't you want your child to have more in life, you know? Because a lot of the kids think, oh, I'm working at Blenders, I'm making money, I'm good. But there's so much more out there. So for me, the difficulties are explaining to them what's out there, what they can get, the opportunity, and getting them to think outside the box.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you, Sergeant Porter. You're absolutely right. You know, there's that huge fear of, oh, my son or daughter is going to go into war and they're going to die. And, you know, I guess for me, that's an obstacle for me, because I'm like, okay, you guys are too, you know, that's Hollywood making these outrageous movies, you know, because that's what they get paid for. They're not going to make movies about dentistry or mechanics or culinary arts or whatever. You know, they're going to make so it puts all this, you know, these stigmas into, you know, men and women's heads. And it's just like you know, I know for me personally, that's a huge obstacle that I have to actually, you know, face and obviously get over, you know, to be like, hey, no, this is actually what it is, you know. So again, thank you for sharing. Next.
So I'll go. I recruit out of downtown Los Angeles, and if you've been down here, you kind of know what the area is like. So it's a little tough. I would say as a new recruiter, one of the many of the obstacles that I've been dealing with is kind of like the area pretty much. Without offending anybody, you have a lot of drugs, you have a lot of crime, you have a lot of car break-ins, you just have so much, and it's kind of like overwhelming, and it's like you're crawling through a needle in a haystack trying to find the perfect applicant, and we like to call it in our office a unicorn. So when you find that one person, you like, okay, no law, no this, no that, and it's like, all right, it gotta be something, and it always is. It's like, okay, well, I just smoked weed yesterday, and you like, oh, like, oh, like, I feel like the drugs, it play a big part in it. Then you also have like the tattoos, that plays like a major role. Like the little tattoos that they have, it kind of like disqualify them. For my males, that's mainly the big taker. The tattoos and the law, depending on what type of law violation it is. Some of them are we can work with them, like a simple like speeding ticket, parking ticket, those are okay. But then that's when you get to like the big ones, and it's like, okay, this is LA, and it's like at home that's like something simple, but in Los Angeles it's like, oh, that's a felony. So that's like one of the biggest obstacles right there. For the females, is like the single parent thing. It's so common, and it's so hard. It's just like I'm praying one day we come up with like a better option for it, but it's just like this parent decide to have a baby, and it's just like they can't do something that they dreamed about doing. They can't make a better life for their baby because I have no one that I can rely on to care for my child as much as I do. And it sucks, but it's like that's one of the big obstacles too. And then one incident that I kind of like had to deal with was female had a cyst removal surgery, and as a female, that's common to us. Like we get cysts, we have different issues with our body, but it's like something like that kind of like disqualified her from joining the army. And as a female, you would think, okay, well, that's like 90% of the world. Like females go through that. It happens at an early age. We can't stop that. We can't fight that. But it's like, because this person had it at this age and they had it for this amount of time, it's like they're disqualified. So it's like if it's not medical, if it's not like, I want to say drugs, or if it's not like physical appearance, it's like, those are the big obstacles with like males and females, and it sucks. I know we're kind of like working on a plan. I pray we work on something harder. Another thing is, I've run into a lot of Hispanics that want to join, but they have no I-559 card. They have no legal, they're not legal citizens. And it sucks because they're, when I tell you they're like qualified around the board, high school transcripts, got all A's, they have everything. And that one little thing it stops them from joining the army. It's like, this person is willing and able. They don't do drugs. They have no injuries. They just perfect. And it's like, I'm not a legal citizen. It breaks my heart every single day. Because when I tell you, I run into maybe like 5 or 6 of them that's just like, hey, I want to do it, but this. And I say, you know what? Here's my number. Here's the website. If you need help, let me know, because somebody that wants to serve their country, I know they're going to make an amazing soldier because they want to do it versus you're telling them to do it. So that's like the number one obstacle right there. The legalization, it sucks, but it's like, we got to do something, like, hey, like something.
No, that's right. No, you're absolutely right. Those are definitely tough obstacles, you know, and they definitely, you know, need to come up with a better plan. Yeah, especially with the tattoos. You know, everyone gets tattoos. You know, I got tattoos, brands. You know, and it's just like
Darn King is at some of them tattoos.
Those tattoos versus a butterfly or my niece name. Though we could. It's like the good and bad tattoos. I'm talking about the niece name and, you know, my zodiac sign, not the other ones.
Okay.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You got the good and the bad.
Absolutely. No, but no, those are definitely obstacles that really, you know, that they really prevent us from, you know, enlisting perfectly good people at heart that sincerely want to join, you know? So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else would like to share?
I think another obstacle like for females is that they think that they can't be girly in the United States Army. Like that's a big one, to where like you ask them, why do you want to join? They're like, well, I heard I can't get my hair done, or I can get my nails done. I can't be myself. That's not true. We have to let them know, like, hey, there's like more girly people in the Army that I know of than outside of the civilian world, you know? So I think that's just one of the other obstacles as well for females.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you brought that up, you know, because that's another misconception. You know, a lot of people feel that you have to be this, you know, imaginary image of what, you know, I don't even want to say a man, because, you know, there's women that are, you know, hard too, but you don't have to be that way. You know, you can be who you are, you know. It's just what I love about the Army, you know, in specific, is that we can be who we are still and still get the job done. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all like the movies where it's just like toe the line type. No, we're actually real people with real personalities. So again, anyone else would like to share?
I was going to say, I think everybody definitely took everything pretty much you can say about this, you know, obstacles.
Yeah.
Because I'm here in Redlands, so We're like by San Bernardino a little bit, Marina Valley, Riverside, all that good stuff or whatever. So in our area, the colleges is one of the big things too here, because a lot of the kids, their parents is like, well, we're gonna just pay for their college. Like, that's not a big deal. We already have a fund already set for them. And I'm like, okay, but they can use that funding to do something else. They can buy a car, they can do this, they can invest in this, but that's one of the big obstacles here is that they're like, oh no, we just pay for it. It's already set aside. And like she said about being girly, a lot of females, they're like, oh, is something going to happen to me? Or, looking at TV a lot. Yeah, it's a big thing. Lot of misconceptions. And we do have a lot of Hispanics around this area also, but the family, they'll let the males do it, but then they like, oh no, females, no, y'all can't do it.
Right.
So when I come around, that's one thing that I do is talk to them. And when they see me, they're like, oh, wow. But a lot of people think I'm in the reserves too, because what they think is that females only could be in the reserves. It's funny. I never heard that before until I came here. But yeah, they're like, oh, wow, you active duty? I'm like, yes, I am. They're like, oh, but you're a recruiter. I'm like, well, I'm only recruiting for right now. And then I go back to the actual job. And they're like, oh, wow, you're really doing something. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, you're in your own hand, So that's the thing that I try to preach to them about. And as far as, when they say like, hey, is something going to happen to my son and daughter? Some of the obstacles is I let them know about my leadership skills. So that's one way that I get over it, is talking to them about how I take care of the soldiers and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's some of my obstacles that we have in Redlands.
Wow. Yeah, that's a new one. But I would be lying if I didn't say I didn't hear same, with the oh wow, you're female, you're an active duty. I'm like, yes, yes. So all of what you guys said, those are amazing. And it's sad, but that's just the world that we are in. I always say, like, just the recruiting, it's just different, from coast to coast. Not a diss to the West Coast, but at least here, I feel like more people down south, they get it. Maybe because the teachers talk about it more. So it's just it's just different, but hey, like they say, I guess we still have to pretty much just teach, just reach one, teach one. That's really what it's about, being able to educate. Does anyone else want to add more to that?
Well, Star and Tucker, you made a good point about down south, how it's like big, because I can tell you from here, we don't have JROTC. A lot of the schools up and down California do not have it compared to schools all throughout the South. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it is. No, you're absolutely right. So, for me, I definitely feel, especially like you said, Sergeant Brooks, with the colleges, I feel that it needs to start, at an early age, like down south, and I'm not trying to, compare like, but I will say this is the saddest thing for me that I often see while recruiting and just, being out here. There are families that are comfortable staying 5 people to 1 bedroom, one bedroom, opposed to doing something that's going to not only increase their family, but their families to come. And it's just unfortunate that so many people allow the stigmas or the fallacies to invade their thought process when it comes to, enlisting. Shoot, it's just 3 years, and then anyway, but yeah. But thank you all. I appreciate that. I got about two more questions. All right. And then I'll be done. All right. So question 6, what advice would you give to a woman or female who is considering the United States Army as an option? Again, the question is, what advice would you give to a woman or female who is considering the United States Army as an option? And I'm talking about from ages to 17 to, 35. So yeah, or even younger, what are the, what advice would you personally give?
I would say do not get discouraged by any of the obstacles that are thrown at you, because at the end of the day, you're going to have people around you trying to help you achieve those goals or obstacles that you have. And then whenever they say like, this is only for males, like just remember that females can do it as well. Maybe not as good as them, but we're able to achieve it as well.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Females can do it as well. Guess what, America? We have our female as a vice president. So like, come on, like this old school mentality of thinking needs to change. Thank you. That was anyone else would like to chime in?
I would say, like Sergeant Brooks has said, and Sergeant King, it was something they wanted to do. My best advice from my experience and from being in for so long, if you do get into college and it's like a partial scholarship, do ROTC, because then you're not
right.
Both aspects. You get your college paid for, you get experience of what to prepare for once you go active duty or go into the reserves. So I would say do that and don't be afraid. And like Sergeant Brooks, she said they didn't have mental health, so she went with a backup option of military police. So go after what piques your interest. Make a list of like 10 jobs. We have 150. Make a list of 10. So at least you'll know you'll get one of those 10.
Right. Absolutely.
I was going to say, like she said, make a list. So I'm going to say make a list. I was going to say, if a female is considering it, make a 5-year and 10-year plan, and kind of like write down where you see yourself in like 5 years or 10 years, and then I guess like make a comparison of, if I did this by myself, where would it lead me? I guess like what area would I be in? How far would I be behind if something was thrown at me? Because life happens. If something was thrown at me, would it put me behind, or could I still stay on track? And then do like another plan with the Army benefits. The Army offers this certification. They pay for this. They pay for that. They help me with like financial, I guess like financial help and housing, stuff like that. Add all that into it. And if that plan weighs more and it's like a better option, I would say go for it and don't second guess it. Because a lot of us, me included, like to second guess a lot of stuff and be like, okay, well, what if I did it this way? Or what if I did like this? And we put stuff off and we kind of like hold ourselves back. I would say if you weigh your options, you do your 5-year, 10-year plan, and that plan with the Army included weighs way heavier, go for it. Don't look back. Don't worry about anybody saying stuff like, oh, why you do that? Or I can't believe you did that. You crazy, not the Army, not this.
Right.
Don't listen to naysayers, because those are going to be the same ones when you come back home and they're going to be like, can you help me out? Can you help me pay for this? Oh, dang, I should have listened to you. I should have followed in your footsteps. Always listen to your gut. Always listen to your inner voice. And if you feel any kind of like doubt, pray about it. Prayer changes everything. Like just pray about it. And I promise you're going to be perfectly fine.
Wow.
That's great. That's
Wow.
awesome.
You said one thing that just touched me. Life happens. It happens. I mean, just for me personally, I know it's not about me, but for me, I joined when I was 25. So, I'm 34 now, by the grace of God. But I was just gung-ho on not joining, but it was just that life aspect, and the education piece. So it's like, yeah, I already knew about it, but, just things, in my life just led me to it. And I'm actually glad that I learned and was educated earlier, because it was still in the back of my mind. You know what I'm saying? So, wow, that was brilliant. Thank you. Anyone else would like to, just again, advice about, females joining, you know, so as an option.
Oh, I got another one. Don't let having kids stop you either. A lot of
Yeah.
females are afraid because they have babies. Do not let that stop you. We have like a lot of amazing moms in the Army that I just love to this day.
Yep.
And their babies are perfectly fine. They're healthy. They get to travel with their parents. So do not let that stop you either.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sergeant King. Thank
I
you.
know,
Shout
right?
out.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're
Parents.
absolutely right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So this is my last question. Kind of wrapping up here. You know, so question number 7, last question is, what advice would you give to the parents or guardians who are potentially suggesting Army as an option for their children? Again, what is the advice that you would give to the parents and our guardians who are potentially suggesting the Army as an option for their children? You know, because again, I guess the reason why this question is so important, right? Because, you know, a lot of the parents have, you know, lived through like the Desert Storms and the, heck, even the daggone Vietnam, or grandparents at least, you know, so they're still thinking that the Army's still like that, you know. I guarantee you they don't, you know, they don't believe that women can be active duty and still be in the Army, you know, so that's the reason why, you know. It's because my thing is sometimes it's not the kid, you know, because when we're, you know, talking to the young adults who are in high school, you know, it's the parents that are like, don't call my son phone, don't call my daughter phone. Bye. And I'm just like, well, okay, got it. But it's just like, for me, it's unfortunate because I'm just like, you never know where life can take you, you know, just one of those things. So again, that's the reason why I wanted to specifically ask that question.
I'll give my my personal story. Like I said, I wanted to join right after high school. I was in ROTC, loved it. I knew I wanted to do it. So I had the recruiter come to my house, and my mom ripped up my contract. She was like, no, you're not doing it. You're going to college. I don't know why you brought this man here. And it kind of made me discouraged because I'm like, Mom, you should support whatever it is that I want to do. It's not like I'm going to go, you know, do something illegal or something wrong. But it was just, she had no good reason of why I couldn't. So it wasn't until I was 21, I joined, and I asked her, like, why didn't you let me do it? And she pretty much said, you know what, I wasn't really educated on the topic. So I feel like if a lot of parents, they want their kids to do it, don't kind of like shove it down their throat or say like, oh, you're going to do it, you're going to get out of my house, or you're going to join the Army or something. Pretty much kind of like, I guess, guide them to a recruiter, wherever the closest one is, and just talk to them, get the knowledge, because it may be something that parents are afraid of, or it may be something that their kids are afraid of, that they're not like comfortable with saying, Mom, I'm scared I'm gonna die. Like they're not comfortable with just saying it to their parents, because their parents gonna be like, okay, well, I didn't raise you to be afraid. Different people are raised different type of ways. So I would say the best thing to do is kind of like go to a recruiting station and just talk to them. Talking is probably like the best thing ever. You don't know if you don't ask. Ask all the questions you want to ask. If you see something on TV, let us clear it up for you. Like, that's not how it is. A lot of people think like the Army is like Call of Duty. No, it's not like Call of Duty. It is not. It's not. It's not like Saving Private Ryan. It's not. It's not what you see on TV. So it's like, come to a recruiting station, talk to somebody. You don't have to come and sign a contract right then, but if you just want to say, hey, I got a question, I'm bringing my baby in. We want to talk about this. I want them to join. They don't want to join. And you just go from there. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And don't be that parent that's just like forcing, because as kids, we all know when your parents force you to do something, we pretty much go the other direction. Like, nope, I'm not doing it. Especially if you're like 17 and 18, because you got the mentality like, I'm grown, I can do whatever I want to do. So it's like, don't force them, just kind of like guide them, talk to them, understand their fears, understand why they don't want to do it on their own. See where their head is about it. Cause some just say, hey, I don't want to do the Army. I want to go to school. If you go talk to a recruiter, they can pretty much say, hey, well, you can do the reserve option. You want to stay at home. You want to get a little bit more, whatever it is that you want to do. Just don't be that forceful parents. Cause I have a lot of those applicants that say, my mom made me come. This is the only reason why I'm doing it. And I don't want to say, well, you know what, you got an option. Like, no, like just guide them, talk to them. Don't be that you gonna do it type parent, like almost.
Great. Wow. You're absolutely right. Wow. Again, you hit it right on the head, Sergeant King. Like real talk. Like, and funny, when you said with the my mother, when she told me to go this way, I was that kid that was like, no, I'm going this way. So I like that you had said that. I appreciate you. Thank you. Anyone else would like to, again, just a note to the parents, personally.
Well, there's a recruiter down here in the Oxnard office that I love talking to. He's their station commander. He's actually headed out of here, but Sergeant Pope could probably relate. He's Hispanic, Mexican, of course. And what he says is when he talks to the parents, and you have those parents that are kind of stubborn, especially here in California, everybody knows we're big on agriculture. So what he pitches to the parents is, you're happy working in the fields, making that money, but don't you want more for your child?
I know, right?
That's the part that really hits the parents, is him saying, don't you want more for your kid? And he said, that's what actually sways a lot of your Hispanic parents, especially the agriculture workers, to be like, oh, yeah, I do want them to be more than me. I do want them to do better than me. I do want them not to work as hard and be out here in the fields 5 a.m. in the morning till 6 at night, coming home. I want more for them. Right. And then a friend of mine, her and her husband were both active duty. They're now retired. What they did with their oldest daughter, who they could see that they weren't going to pay for her to go to college because they knew it wasn't going to work. They talked with her and they were like, do 3 years, get your own money to pay for college, and get your life experience. And that actually worked. Like, she got stationed in Korea, came back, she's out now, and she's like doing amazing. She's in college with good grades. She's not running buck wild, like, you know what I mean? Because she had that experience of the discipline that the Army was able to provide, and her parents didn't have to worry about her being in college and not going to class and who knows what they're doing. Some of us have all been to college. We know what goes on in college. A lot of parents have been too. So, yes. So for the parents, I yes. say, like, take your kid, go with them, get an understanding, get a better understanding. And if you know your child and you know that college is just not for them, 3 years ain't gonna hurt you. It's gonna be here and there.
Right. Absolutely. Beautifully said. Absolutely. Go with them. See what it is, and just like you said, 3 years is like this. And going back to the whole college thing, right? A lot of people feel that you can't do both. You can still go to college and you can still be in the U.S. Army. As a matter of fact, we'll pay for your education. So, with that, I love it because at least if I were a parent, I would be like, okay, at least my, daughter or son, they're going to have some type of discipline to them, where they're not just wilding out. Because like you said, and again, I'm speaking on me because that was me when I was a junior, freshman and junior. I was, but that was just me though. So had I would have gotten had I would have went sooner to the military, I feel that I would have been more disciplined in the things that I am now. But I mean, I'm still happy. Every experience just led me to where I am now. But so yeah, thank you. So yeah, anyone else would like to share?
I think both Sergeant Porter and Sergeant King pretty much said everything.
Okay, all right. With that, I think we lost one. Probably comms check went down, something like that. But again, I just want to say thank each and every one of you all for being a part of this virtual Women's Health Expo, obviously sponsored by KJLH. Thank you for giving us this amazing platform to educate and just to show, that, hey, we're actually here. That you guys are the recruiters, who are the experts, in this, So I just want to say thank each and every one of you. Sergeant Pope, Sergeant Porter, Sergeant King, Sergeant Brooks, thank you all for being a part of this amazing program. And I think that's it. Again, does anyone else have any final words? Any last things that you would like to say?
Thank
All
you for
right. Okay.
You go, so important.
I said, thank you for having us.
There we go. Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, thank you for having us. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for letting us just like speak openly and freely and about our experiences. And thank you for putting this together, because a lot of people still don't know. And hopefully this is like a start to like so many other, I guess, I want to say radio stations, venues, just kind of like, I guess, selecting us and letting us talk, because if they don't ask questions, they will never know. And we just appreciate you.
No, thank you. Absolutely. All right. Anyone else?
I was going
All
to
right.
say thank you for giving us free advertisement for our recruiting station as well.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you all again, each and every one of you. KJLH, we thank you. The people that are listening, we thank you.
The Radio Free 102.3 KJLH 21st Annual Women's Health Expo, brought to you virtually by the City of Long Beach and Fresno County Black Infant Health Program.